Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into the story. To be continued. The next morning, Emma couldn't stop thinking about last night. She sat at the small kitchen table in her cramped apartment, the faint smell of coffee filling the air. Her phone buzzed on the table, but she couldn't bring herself to check it. Her mind was still on Liam Kevin, or whatever his real name was. She had messed up, made a fool of herself. She ran out of that restaurant so quickly, so embarrassed, and the whole night felt like a blur. She was still replaying it in her mind, over and over. Maybe she had imagined the connection. Maybe it had all been in her head. The way he had smiled, the way they talked, it felt real. But then he wasn't Kevin. And that was the truth. She hadn't expected it to haunt her this much. Her stomach churned as she thought about it. The truth was, she had liked him. And not in the way she had liked other guys before. It felt different. But now, all she had was the memory of a mistake. She hadn't even learned his real name until the end. Emma shook her head, trying to snap out of her thoughts. She had work to do. She had a shift at the diner in an hour, and if she didn't leave now, she'd be late. As she stood up to grab her coat, the phone buzzed again. She glanced at the screen, only to see a message from an unknown number. Hesitantly, she unlocked it. Hi, Emma. This is Liam. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I'd really like to see you again. I know last night was awkward, but maybe we could meet for coffee? Let me know. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She read the message again. Liam. Not Kevin. She stared at the screen for a few seconds, unsure of what to do. Should she ignore him? Or should she respond? He hadn't been rude when she left the restaurant. He had wanted to help, but she had just bolted. She could hardly blame him for not wanting to see her again after that disaster. But something told her that she should give him a chance. Maybe she had jumped to conclusions. Maybe she had been too quick to run away. Maybe he wasn't the type of guy to hold a mix-up against someone. After a few minutes of nervous hesitation, Emma finally typed a reply. Okay, coffee sounds good. When and where? She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Her phone buzzed almost immediately with his response. How about 3 p.m. at the cafe on 5th and Main? I'll be there. Her heart beat a little faster at the idea of seeing him again. She quickly changed into her uniform for work and grabbed her bag, trying not to get too caught up in the flutter of excitement that bubbled in her chest. This wasn't a date. It was just coffee. Just an apology, right? But as she headed out the door, she couldn't help but feel that there was something more to it. Something that might just be the beginning of something different. Something real. Later that afternoon, Emma walked into the cafe. She wasn't sure what to expect. She had spent the entire morning thinking about Liam and wondering what this meeting would mean. Was he just trying to be polite? Was this just a let's clear the air thing? Or was there more? She couldn't figure it out, and honestly, she didn't know what she wanted it to be. She skimmed the small cafe, the warm lights giving the place a cozy, inviting feel. Her eyes landed on a man sitting at a corner table, looking down at his phone. He was dressed casually this time, jeans and a gray sweater, but there was something about the way he sat that made it clear he wasn't just any regular guy. He looked different. Emma approached the table, and his eyes met hers as she walked up. He smiled warmly, and for a moment, all the awkwardness from the night before seemed to disappear. She smiled back. Hi, she said softly, trying to keep her voice steady. I'm sorry about last night. Liam chuckled lightly. It's okay. I should have said something sooner. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. Emma sat down across from him, feeling the nervous energy that had been building inside her start to settle. It was a mix-up. I should have known better. It's no big deal, Liam said, waving a hand dismissively. I just wanted to make sure we could have a conversation without the chaos. The waitress came over, and they both ordered coffee. Emma glanced down at the menu, but she wasn't really reading it. She was thinking about what he had said about not wanting to make her uncomfortable. She wasn't sure how to respond. She had only met him briefly, and she didn't know if it was appropriate to ask too many personal questions. But there was something about him that made her want to know more. Something that drew her in, despite the confusion of their first meeting. Tell me about yourself, Emma said finally, after a brief pause. You said you work in tech. What's that like? Liam leaned back in his chair, taking a sip of his coffee before answering. It's a lot of problem solving, really. Coding, building, creating something from nothing. She nodded, her mind trying to keep up with the conversation. Sounds complicated. It can be, Liam said with a smile. But it's also kind of fun. The challenge is what keeps me going. They talked for a while, about work, about their lives, and about the things that had brought them both to this moment. The conversation was easy, even though they didn't know each other well. Emma found herself laughing at his dry sense of humor, and Liam seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say. But as the conversation continued, Emma began to notice something. There was something about him, something that didn't quite add up. And it wasn't just the fact that he had seemed so different last night. It was more than that. There was a depth to him that made her want to know more. And she couldn't help but wonder, what was he hiding? And what did it mean for their future? To be continued. As the days passed, Emma found herself thinking about Liam more and more. It wasn't just the coffee meeting that had stayed with her, it was something about the way he spoke, the way he listened, and the way he made her feel like she wasn't just another face in the crowd. She hadn't expected to feel so comfortable around someone she barely knew, and yet, there was this unspoken connection between them that made her second-guess everything she thought she knew. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart skipped a beat, hoping it would be him. But it wasn't. The days after their coffee date were quiet, with Emma focusing on her shifts at the diner and trying to keep her mind off things. Yet, every time she walked past the window, the reflection of her own face made her question what she was doing. She had spent so much of her life just getting by, convincing herself that dreams were just that, dreams. She hadn't ever allowed herself to hope for something better. But now, with every thought of Liam, she felt that tiny spark of possibility. Maybe life didn't have to be just about surviving. Maybe it could be about living, truly living, and embracing the unknown. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden knock on her door. It was a little past 6 in the evening, and she hadn't been expecting anyone. When she opened it, she was met with the last person she thought she would see. Liam. Standing there, holding a bouquet of flowers. Hey, he said, smiling sheepishly. I know it's a bit of a surprise, but I thought maybe I could make it up to you for the whole mix-up at the restaurant. Emma blinked, caught off guard. She hadn't seen him since their coffee meeting, and now here he was, at her doorstep. Make it up to me, she repeated, her voice slightly shaky. Liam, you don't have to do that. I want to, he said, his tone sincere. I know things were awkward the first time, and I should have made it clearer that I wasn't upset about the mix-up. It just, kind of stuck with me, you know? I want to be honest with you. Emma felt a strange flutter in her chest. The flowers were beautiful, but it wasn't the flowers that made her feel this way. It was the fact that he cared enough to show up at her door. He didn't have to, but he did. Please, Liam continued, stepping forward slightly. Let me take you out. Maybe to a place that's a little less awkward than a blind date, and maybe this time, we can talk about something other than tech and waitress jobs. Emma hesitated for a moment, glancing at the flowers in his hand and then at his face, which was open, genuine. She didn't know what had changed between their first meeting and now, but something in her gut told her she couldn't turn him away. She had already made one mistake by running out on him that night. "All right," she said finally, her voice soft but determined. "But only because I owe you one for running out like that." Liam smiled, relief washing over his face. "You don't owe me anything," he said, handing her the flowers. "Just, let's give this another shot, yeah?" Emma nodded, taking the flowers. They were beautiful, and for the first time in a long time, they didn't feel out of place in her hands. It was a small gesture, but one that meant a lot more than just flowers. Later that evening, Emma and Liam walked through the quiet streets of the city, the night air cool but not uncomfortable. Emma tried not to feel nervous as they headed to a cozy little restaurant on the corner. It was far from the fancy, high-end spots she had imagined when they first met, but that was what made it perfect. They didn't need any more distractions or pretenses. Just a quiet place to talk. "So," Emma began, trying to break the silence, "tell me more about this tech job of yours. What do you actually do?" Liam chuckled, looking over at her. "I'm not the typical tech guy you'd think of. I don't spend all my time in front of a screen. I'm more of a strategist, helping companies figure out how to use tech to actually make a difference in the world." "That sounds really important," Emma said, genuinely impressed. "But also, like, really complicated." "It is," Liam agreed. "But I enjoy it. I've spent my whole life building something, and now I get to help others do the same. It's not just about the money, Emma. It's about making an impact." Emma nodded slowly. She didn't fully understand everything he was saying, but there was something about his words that resonated with her. It wasn't about the money. It was about something more. "And you?" Liam asked, turning the conversation back to her. "What about you? What's your dream?" Emma paused, not used to being asked about her own dreams. Most days, it was easier to focus on surviving than to think about what she wanted out of life. But tonight, something felt different. She took a deep breath and started to speak. "I want to open my own art studio," she said quietly. "It's something I've wanted for years, but I never really thought it would happen. I mean, who's going to give someone like me a chance?" Liam looked at her, his expression serious. "You deserve that chance. You just need to take it." Emma felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. It was simple, but something about it felt real. Maybe it was the way he said it, or maybe it was because for the first time, someone actually believed in her. As they sat down for dinner, Emma realized that this wasn't just another awkward coffee date or a charity date. This was something else, something real. And maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of something she never thought could happen in her own life. To be continued. As the weeks passed, Emma found herself spending more time with Liam. What had started as an awkward coffee date had transformed into something unexpected. Their connection had deepened in ways Emma hadn't thought possible. She had always been skeptical of romance, especially considering her own struggles. But there was something genuine about Liam, something that made her feel seen and valued in a way no one had ever done before. One evening, after a quiet dinner at a local bistro, Liam drove Emma back to her apartment. As they parked, Emma hesitated before getting out of the car. She looked at him, not sure how to express the swirling emotions inside her. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly, glancing at the car door before turning back to face him. Liam gave her a warm smile, his eyes soft. "I should be the one thanking you. For giving me a chance, for letting me be part of your world." Emma's heart fluttered at his words. She had been so guarded for so long, but Liam's kindness had chipped away at her walls bit by bit. He didn't look at her as someone beneath him. He didn't treat her like just another person who would fade into the background. "I know we're still figuring things out," Liam continued, his voice quiet but steady. "But I want you to know that I'm here, Emma. I want to be here for you, however you need." Emma felt her throat tighten. She didn't know what to say. For so long, she had been the one taking care of everything, holding everything together. The idea of letting someone in, of trusting someone with her heart, was terrifying. But with Liam, it felt different. He wasn't asking for perfection. He wasn't asking her to have everything figured out. He was just asking for a chance. Maybe I'm not ready, Emma said, her voice soft as she lowered her gaze. But that doesn't mean I don't want to try. I need time to figure things out. Liam reached across the car seat, gently taking her hand in his. His touch was warm, grounding her in the moment. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere, Emma. She looked up at him, her eyes meeting his, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she wasn't alone. A few days later, Emma was walking down the street when she saw a familiar face ahead of her. Liam. He was standing in front of a gallery, looking at the artwork displayed in the windows. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she approached him. Hey, she said, her voice a little breathless. Liam turned around, a smile spreading across his face when he saw her. Hey. I was just admiring this place. I think you'd love it. The artist is actually a friend of mine. Emma raised an eyebrow, surprised. Really? You never told me you had artist friends. Liam chuckled, shrugging lightly. Well, I don't usually talk about it. But I know a lot of people. And I thought maybe you'd like to check it out. Emma smiled, feeling the warmth spread through her chest at the thought. She hadn't realized it, but Liam had been thinking of her, even when she hadn't been around. He hadn't forgotten her passion for art, even though it was a part of her life she often kept hidden. Come on, Liam said, his voice inviting. Let's go inside. They walked into the gallery, the soft music playing in the background blending with the quiet murmur of other visitors. As they moved through the space, Emma found herself drawn to the paintings on the walls. The vibrant colors, the raw emotion in the brushstrokes, it was the kind of art that made her heart race with excitement. Liam stopped in front of a large piece, turning to her. What do you think? He asked, his gaze searching hers. Emma studied the painting for a moment, feeling the connection she always felt when she was in the presence of something beautiful. It's stunning. It's so full of life. Liam nodded, looking at the painting with a smile. That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. It's called The Awakening. It's about finding new beginnings. Emma felt a lump in her throat at the thought. It was as if the painting was speaking directly to her. She had spent so much of her life hiding away from the world, afraid to dream too big or hope for too much. But maybe it was time for her to awaken. To embrace the possibility of something more. She turned to Liam, meeting his gaze. I never thought I could have something like this, she admitted quietly. But I want to try. I want to live differently. Liam's eyes softened as he reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. You don't have to do it alone, Emma. I'm here. For the first time in a long time, Emma believed him. And in that moment, she realized that maybe she had been waiting for someone to show her how to truly live. And maybe, just maybe, that someone had been standing right in front of her all along. As they walked out of the gallery, the air was crisp and fresh, the evening sky tinged with the colors of the setting sun. Emma felt lighter than she had in months, her heart filled with the kind of hope she hadn't known in years. And with Liam by her side, she knew that no matter what came next, she was ready to face it. To be continued. As the days passed, Emma felt herself becoming more and more entwined in Liam's world. It wasn't just the glamorous dinners or the art galleries, though she did enjoy those. It was the quiet moments they shared. The way he listened to her dreams, even the ones she hadn't spoken aloud before. The way he made her feel like maybe, just maybe, she was capable of more than she'd ever imagined. But with every passing day, a nagging thought crept into Emma's mind. What if she was just a part of his world because he pitied her? He was wealthy, successful, and confident everything she wasn't. What if, deep down, he was just fulfilling some sort of charity project by helping her, even though he'd never admit it? She tried to shake the thought away, but it lingered. She wasn't used to this kind of attention. She had spent so long surviving, always on her own, that the idea of someone truly seeing her as she was felt foreign. One afternoon, as Emma was cleaning up after a long shift at the diner, she received a call from an unknown number. She hesitated, wondering if it was just another telemarketer or a wrong number. But something in her gut told her it was Liam. "Hello?" she answered, her voice a little breathless. "Hey, it's Liam," came his familiar voice, warm and reassuring. "I've been thinking a lot about you." Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Liam, what's going on?" "I want to see you," he said simply. "There's something important I need to tell you." Emma felt a wave of unease wash over her. Was this the moment she'd been dreading? Was he about to tell her that he was done, that this had all been some kind of fantasy? "I'm free tonight," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "Great," Liam said. "I'll pick you up at 7. Wear something nice. I want to take you somewhere special." When the evening came, Emma stood in front of the mirror, nervously adjusting the dress she had chosen. It wasn't anything fancy, just a simple black dress that hugged her curves in all the right places. She didn't have many clothes like this, but she felt like tonight was different. She wanted to look her best. She wanted to impress him, though she wasn't sure why. At precisely 7, the doorbell rang. Emma's heart raced as she opened the door to find Liam standing there, looking as handsome as ever in a well-fitted suit. His smile was warm, and his eyes lit up when he saw her. "Wow, you look stunning," he said, his voice full of admiration. "Thank you," Emma said softly, feeling the butterflies in her stomach flutter at the compliment. Liam stepped forward, taking her hand gently. "Shall we go?" They drove through the city, the lights twinkling outside the car window, the conversation light but meaningful. It was the first time in a while that Emma felt at ease. No awkwardness, no fears, just a quiet, comfortable moment between two people who were beginning to understand each other. When they arrived at their destination, Emma's breath caught in her throat. The restaurant was breathtaking, and elegant, upscale place that she had only ever seen in magazines or on TV. The soft glow of chandeliers and the sound of live piano music created an atmosphere of sophistication and luxury. "I know this place is a little over the top," Liam said, noticing her wide eyes. "But I wanted tonight to be special." Emma smiled, trying not to let her nerves show. "It's beautiful." They sat at a table by the window, and the evening unfolded with ease. They talked about everything and nothing, about Emma's dreams of opening her art studio, about Liam's work in tech, about the places they had traveled and the things they had seen. The conversation was effortless, flowing as naturally as the wine they sipped. But as the night wore on, Emma could feel the unease creeping back. There was something Liam hadn't said yet. Something important. Finally, as they finished their dessert, Liam cleared his throat, his expression turning serious. "Emma," he began, his voice low and thoughtful, "I've been meaning to tell you something." Emma's heart beat faster. "What is it?" Liam reached across the table, gently taking her hand in his. "I'm not just a tech guy. I'm the CEO of a company. I've built it from the ground up. And it's not something I talk about a lot. I don't like to flaunt it, but it's part of who I am. And I just wanted you to know the truth." Emma blinked, trying to process what he had just said. She had known he was successful, but this? This was a revelation. "Why didn't you tell me before?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam hesitated, his eyes filled with uncertainty. "I didn't want you to think that's all I am. I didn't want to scare you off, Emma. I've been through a lot, and I didn't want you to see me as just the CEO. I wanted you to see me as me." Emma's mind raced, the words sinking in slowly. He wasn't just a man with a tech job. He was a powerful figure, someone with a life she couldn't even begin to imagine. And yet, he had still chosen to spend time with her. "I don't know what to say," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "You don't have to say anything," Liam replied gently. "I just needed you to know. Because I want you to know me. All of me. Emma stared at him for a moment, trying to absorb the weight of his words. And then, finally, she nodded. Okay, she said softly. I want to know you too. Liam smiled, the tension easing between them. I'm glad. As they left the restaurant, the night air felt different. Emma wasn't sure what the future held, but in that moment, she realized she wasn't afraid anymore. She was ready to take a chance on something real. To be continued. The following days after their dinner felt like a turning point for Emma. She had always guarded her heart, built walls around it out of necessity, but now she was starting to question everything. Could she really open up? Could she let someone in, especially someone like Liam? He had just told her he was the CEO of a tech company, someone with power and influence. The kind of man she never thought would give her the time of day. But somehow, here they were, he was still there, still by her side, and it made her wonder if everything she believed about herself, about love, was wrong. The next few days were filled with a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. Liam continued to reach out, asking her to join him for dinner or to meet for walks in the park. They laughed, shared stories, and little by little Emma started to see him as more than just the successful CEO. He was kind, funny, and surprisingly humble. He listened to her dreams, her fears, and her worries without judgment. One evening, Liam picked Emma up from her apartment and took her to a small, intimate rooftop cafe overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking, the twinkling lights of the city stretching out below them like a sea of stars. As they settled into a quiet corner, Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. There was something calming about Liam's presence, like he was the anchor she didn't know she needed. This place is amazing, Emma said, glancing out over the city. How did you find it? Liam smiled, taking a sip of his drink before responding. I come here sometimes when I need to clear my head. It's quiet, and the view reminds me that the world is bigger than my office, bigger than all the things I worry about. Emma nodded. I get that. Sometimes, the noise of life can drown out everything else. They spent the evening talking about everything and nothing. Emma shared more about her aspirations, about her art, and her dream of opening a studio someday. Liam shared stories about his company, about how he had built it from the ground up, and the challenges he faced. Through it all, Emma felt something shift between them. It wasn't just a connection, it was a bond, one that was starting to feel real. As they finished their dinner and the night air grew colder, Liam reached across the table and took her hand. The simple touch sent a wave of warmth through Emma's body. It was intimate without being overwhelming. I know things have been moving fast, Liam said, his voice softer now, more serious. But I want you to know that I'm in this. In this with you. I'm not going anywhere, Emma. Emma looked into his eyes, searching for any hint of doubt, any sign that he was just saying what she wanted to hear. But there was nothing. His gaze was steady, his words sincere. She had never been good at trusting people, but something about Liam made her want to. I don't know what I'm doing, Emma admitted, her voice trembling slightly. I've spent so long being afraid to hope, to dream. And now, I'm not sure if I'm ready for all of this. Liam squeezed her hand gently. You don't have to have everything figured out. We can take this slow, one step at a time. All I know is that I want to be here for you. I want to help you make your dreams come true, just like you've made me believe in mine. Emma's heart fluttered in her chest, her doubts slowly fading away. Maybe she didn't need all the answers right now. Maybe the only thing that mattered was that she was willing to take a chance on him and on herself. Okay, she said softly, her voice steady now. Let's take it slow. Liam smiled, the weight of his words still hanging in the air between them. I'm glad. The evening ended with a quiet walk under the stars, their hands intertwined as they talked about everything they had yet to discover about each other. It felt like a beginning. A new chapter. But as they walked back to the car, Emma couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was something more to Liam's story, something he still hadn't told her. It was clear that he was genuine, but she couldn't ignore the feeling that there were still secrets lurking just beneath the surface. She pushed the thought aside for now. She wasn't ready to face it. She was finally allowing herself to hope, to believe that maybe, just maybe, she had found something real. The next morning, as Emma walked into work, she received a call from an unknown number. She hesitated for a moment before answering. Hello? Hi, Emma. It's Liam. I need to talk to you about something important. Her heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected to hear from him so soon. What's going on? I'll explain everything. Can you meet me at the office? I'll be waiting. Emma's mind raced. What was going on? Why was he asking her to meet him there? The office? The same office he had been so secretive about. She quickly texted him back, agreeing to meet, but as she put her phone down, a wave of anxiety hit her. What was he going to tell her? What had he been keeping from her? To be continued. As Emma walked through the doors of Liam's office building, she felt a tight knot form in her stomach. The sleek, modern lobby was exactly what she expected: polished marble floors, glass walls, and a faint smell of expensive perfume in the air. It was all so different from the diner she worked at, from the small apartment she called home. She felt like an outsider. She hesitated for a moment, standing by the elevator, trying to calm her nerves. She had agreed to meet Liam here, but what was it he needed to tell her? Her mind raced with possibilities, none of them good. She had been so sure of him, so sure that he was different, but now she wasn't so sure. The elevator dinged, and the doors slid open. She stepped inside, her heartbeat quickening as she pushed the button for the top floor. When the elevator reached Liam's floor, Emma took a deep breath and walked toward the large, glass doors of his office. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the handle, but before she could open it, Liam appeared from the other side. Hey, he said softly, his expression serious but warm. Thanks for coming. Of course, Emma replied, trying to keep her voice steady. What's going on, Liam? You sounded serious on the phone. Liam stepped aside, gesturing for her to enter. Please, come in. We need to talk. As she walked into the office, Emma took in the breathtaking view of the city's skyline, but she didn't have time to admire it. She was too focused on Liam, on the sudden unease she felt in the pit of her stomach. Liam closed the door behind her, then walked to his desk, sitting down and looking up at her. I've been meaning to tell you something, Emma, but I wasn't sure how. Emma crossed her arms, her gaze fixed on him. You're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on. Liam took a deep breath, his fingers tapping nervously on the desk. I know I haven't been fully honest with you, and I'm sorry for that. But you deserve to know the truth. Emma's heart skipped a beat. This was it. The moment when everything came crashing down. I'm not just the CEO of a tech company, Liam continued. I'm also the heir to a massive fortune. My family has money, power, influence, things that I never wanted to be defined by. I've kept that part of my life separate from everything else, especially from you. Emma stared at him, trying to process what he had just said. You're telling me you've been hiding this from me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam nodded, his gaze never leaving hers. I didn't want you to see me as just the guy with money. I didn't want you to think I was only interested in you because of who I am, or what I can offer. Emma felt a mix of emotions: anger, confusion, and a deep sense of betrayal. But why didn't you tell me earlier? I was afraid, Liam admitted. I was afraid you wouldn't see me for who I really am, that you'd only see the money. I wanted you to get to know the real me, without all the distractions. But I should have trusted you more. Emma ran a hand through her hair, struggling to make sense of it all. I don't know what to think right now. This is a lot to process, Liam. Liam stood up and walked toward her, his hands outstretched in an almost pleading gesture. I understand. I just didn't want you to think that I was some rich guy trying to buy your affection. I care about you, Emma. And I want to build something real with you. Emma took a step back, her emotions overwhelming her. But how can I trust you now? You've kept this huge part of your life from me. Liam's face softened, and he reached out, gently touching her arm. I know I messed up. But I'm not asking for your forgiveness, Emma. I just want you to know the truth, and to know that I'm here, no matter what. I don't want to lose you. Emma looked into his eyes, searching for sincerity. She had wanted to believe in him, had wanted to believe in what they had. But now, everything felt so much more complicated. Could she really trust him? Could she move past the lies? She closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath to steady herself. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all of this, Liam. I need time. I understand, Liam said quietly. Take all the time you need. I just wanted to be honest with you. The room felt heavier than before. Emma had always believed in the simplicity of love, in the idea that the truth would always find a way through the chaos. But now, she wasn't so sure. Could love truly survive in a world so full of secrets and lies? As she walked toward the door, Emma turned back to look at Liam, who was still standing by his desk, watching her. She could see the pain in his eyes, but also the hope that maybe, just maybe, they could work things out. But as she stepped out of the office, the weight of the truth settled heavily in her chest. What if this was the end of something that had only just begun? To be continued. The next few days were filled with a mix of uncertainty and silence. Emma couldn't stop replaying the conversation with Liam in her head. She had asked for time, but the truth was, she wasn't sure if she wanted to know more or if she should walk away completely. The distance between them grew, not because of anything he had done, but because of the weight of his confession. The secret he had kept from her felt like a wall she wasn't sure she could climb. She tried to focus on her art, sketching in her small studio corner, the familiar strokes of her pencil helping to clear her mind. But no matter how much she tried to distract herself, she couldn't escape the thoughts of Liam. What if everything he had said was true? What if his feelings were genuine and the money really didn't matter to him? Or was she just a part of his life because he wanted someone to share his world with, not because of who she was but because of the life he could offer her? On the fourth day after their conversation, Emma was sitting at the diner, cleaning up the counter at the end of her shift. Her mind had wandered again, thinking about everything but the work in front of her, when the familiar sound of her phone buzzing interrupted her thoughts. She picked it up, her heart skipping a beat when she saw the name on the screen. Liam. Taking a deep breath, she answered, her voice shaky. Hello? Emma, Liam said, his voice soft and earnest. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, and I can't just leave things the way they are. I need to see you. Can we talk? Emma closed her eyes for a moment, trying to gather her thoughts. She had been waiting for this, waiting for him to reach out, but now that the moment had come, she wasn't sure what to do. Okay, she said quietly, her voice steady despite the rush of emotions inside her. I'll meet you. They agreed to meet at a small park near her apartment, a place where they had walked once, early on in their friendship. Emma had always liked that park, the trees, the bench by the pond, the peacefulness it offered. It felt like the right place for this conversation, the one that could either bring them closer or make them go their separate ways. When Emma arrived, she found Liam sitting on the same bench where they had first talked. His face looked more serious than she had ever seen it, and for a moment, she wondered if he was second-guessing their meeting. But when he saw her, his eyes softened, and he stood to greet her. Hi, he said, his voice quiet but full of warmth. Hi, Emma replied, feeling the distance between them still lingering. She sat down beside him on the bench, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Liam didn't waste time. I know I messed up. I should have been more honest with you from the start. And I can't undo the past, but I want to make things right. I want to be with you, Emma. No more secrets. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. His words were exactly what she needed to hear, but part of her still struggled to believe them. How could she trust him now? How could she trust that his feelings were real, and not just the result of his wealth and the life he was used to living? I want to believe you, Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. But it's hard. You kept so much from me. How can I know that I'm not just someone you picked out because I fit into your world? Liam reached out, gently taking her hand in his. I never wanted you to feel like that. I wanted you to see me for who I really am, not the money, not the CEO, just me. And I understand if you can't get past it, but I need you to know that I'm not just here because of my job or my family. I'm here because of you. Emma looked into his eyes, searching for the truth behind his words. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The only sound was the rustling of leaves in the breeze. I'm scared, Emma admitted, finally breaking the silence. I'm scared of opening up, of trusting again. Liam nodded, squeezing her hand gently. I'm scared too. But I'm willing to take that risk, Emma. I'm willing to take a chance on us, if you are. For the first time since their conversation in his office, Emma felt a flicker of hope. Maybe she didn't have all the answers. Maybe she didn't have to know everything right away. But in that moment, she realized that sometimes, you just had to trust in yourself, trust in the people around you, and trust that the right thing would fall into place when the time was right. I want to try, Emma said softly, her voice steady now. I want to take that chance. Liam smiled, a genuine, relieved smile, and pulled her into a gentle hug. Thank you, Emma. You won't regret it, I promise. As they stood there, holding each other, Emma felt the weight of the past few days lift off her shoulders. She didn't have all the answers, and maybe she never would. But for the first time, she felt ready to take a step forward. Together. To be continued. Weeks went by, and Emma and Liam's relationship blossomed into something deeper than either of them had expected. They spent more time together, learning about each other's worlds and discovering the beauty in their differences. Emma started to open up more, allowing herself to dream again. Liam supported her, never pushing, always there to listen and offer guidance when needed. The walls she had built around her heart slowly began to crumble, replaced by a trust she hadn't known in years. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when Emma would doubt herself, wondering if she truly belonged in Liam's world. She would catch herself staring at the life she was building with him, wondering if it was all just too good to be true. But every time she had those doubts, Liam was there, reminding her of the bond they shared, of the connection that went beyond money, status, or expectations. One crisp afternoon, as the city prepared for the arrival of fall, Liam took Emma to a quiet park. It was a place they often visited, one that felt like their own little sanctuary away from the bustling world. They sat on the same bench where they had first had one of their honest talks, the place where they had made their decision to take a chance on each other. Do you remember this place? Liam asked, his voice warm with the memories of their past conversations. Emma smiled, resting her head against his shoulder. How could I forget? This was the start of everything. Everything, Liam echoed, his voice soft but filled with conviction. Everything that's good in my life has started with you, Emma. I never imagined that a mistake like me hiding the truth from you would lead me here, to this moment, with you by my side. Emma's heart fluttered at his words. I was scared, Liam, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I was scared of trusting again. But I think I was more scared of not taking the chance. Liam turned to face her, taking her hand gently in his. I was scared too. Scared of losing you, scared of letting my past control my future, but here we are. Here we are, Emma repeated, a smile spreading across her face. She could feel the warmth of his hand in hers, a symbol of the life they were building together. As they sat there, the sounds of the park around them, the rustling of leaves, children laughing in the distance reminded them of how far they had come. What had started as a chance encounter had transformed into something that felt like destiny. Let's keep going, Emma said, her voice full of hope. Let's keep taking chances, one day at a time. Liam's smile widened, and he leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. I'm with you, Emma. Every step of the way. And as they sat together, hands intertwined, Emma realized that she had found something she had never expected. Love wasn't about perfection. It was about finding someone who accepted you for who you were, flaws and all, and still chose to stand by your side. For the first time in her life, Emma didn't feel afraid to hope. She didn't feel alone. And that was all she had ever really wanted. The end to be continued.